Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Get Rich 101 show. I'm your host. I am Sacred Rights, and I am an author. This is my most popular book, well, the most popular book in my mind. Hack Your Pain Now. Hack Your Pain Now. Get it and as an ebook, get it as a reading book, and soon get it as an audio book. So yeah, I gotta get that done for my mom. My mom keeps telling me get done, get done. So I gotta get done. All right, so folks. So as you see, as you see right here, Rev Mel is right here, and we decided to do something a little different today. We decided to do something a little different. My dad is traveling today. He's traveling from Florida to Boston, and so he can't do the show today. And this came up randomly, right? This came randomly, and so we gonna talk about money.
Yes, money, 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 money.
You got a green card for today? That green card is for today?
Yes.
Oh my goodness! Oh, you got me feeling so bad. All right, I will get the point where I write my shows out. I'll get there. I'll get there. So, what do you have written down, Red Mel? What you got? Hit me.
So, this randomly came up because yesterday I mentioned on my show that one of my priorities a couple of years ago was to have no credit card debt. And then you wrote in, "Oh, we need to talk about that. Come on the show."
Yeah.
We can talk about
well,
that.
B said that.
Okay, all right. So,
yeah.
So that happened yesterday. So here we are today. Because we don't play. We don't play.
Yeah,
so here we are today.
Yeah.
So I took that to heart, and oftentimes when we talk about money, people jump right into like these are the steps. But I wanted to take a step back and really think about the root of it all. Right.
Really?
So it was important to me to pay off my credit cards. But what was more important for me is my purpose and my passion. Right. So if I had to share in steps how I was able to pay off all my credit card debt, I would say that step one is being crystal clear about my purpose and my passion. They go hand in hand for me. So,
in your passion.
My purpose and my passion.
Okay.
So, my purpose and my passion is to live life in joy, connected to my yes, and to support people in transforming their lives so that they too can live connected to their yes.
Okay.
Right? In a nutshell.
Okay.
So when I think about that, so I have a personal passion statement. And I've shared a sit where I encouraged everybody to write out their own personal passion purpose statement.
Okay.
And that's the root for me.
Right.
Like that is the root.
Okay.
Everything else are like the branches.
Right.
Or if I think about a tree,
right.
That's the root. That is what's grounding me.
Right.
To live life in joy connected to my yes. So, and the feeling for that for me is, of course, joy and harmony and peace. And then I think about, well, what areas of my life that don't feel that way? And the areas at the time, the area in my life that did not feel like joy, did not feel like peace, did not feel like harmony was money.
Money. Okay.
And one of the leaves on that branch of my money was credit card debt. I felt like it was sucking the life out of me. Every time I would look at, two things were really causing me some anxiety: credit card debt and my credit score. Those two things, right?
Okay.
And it came to a head for me in 2019 because I got into a serious car accident and my car was totaled and I
Oh,
had to
wow.
buy a new car. I was fine for the most part. Nothing nothing acupuncture and a chiropractor couldn't help
Okay. Okay.
um deal with. And so I had to buy a new car. And because my credit score wasn't the greatest, I could not get a good interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
So I wind up paying more in my payments for a car than I would have if I had a better credit score.
Mm. As many of us would.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this just, oh, I'm telling you, it just bothered me so much
Really? Okay.
to know that I don't really have to be paying so much money for my car if my credit score was better.
Mm.
And one of the ways to improve your credit score is to deal with your credit.
Okay. I feel like we need to pause right there because people need to understand that you need to improve your credit score rating to improve to lower your prices for the same thing.
For everything, you want to buy a house, you want to buy anything that you're buying on credit,
Okay.
anything that you're buying on credit,
Right.
you have to have at minimum, good credit score. And we're
Mm.
talking like the average is 720. So we're talking anything over 720.
Mm.
700 is still good, it's in the range. But mine was not even at 700. I was in the low 600s,
Yeah.
right?
Still, still, that's pretty good compared for some people. Compared to some
Yeah.
people, like
Yeah,
yeah.
I guess, but it wasn't good enough for me
Okay.
because I wanted to be in the excellent range. That's
Right.
where I wanted to be. So I wanted to be over 750. My goal was 800. So
Okay.
that's where I wanted to be.
Wow.
And so I started doing research on what do I need to do to
Wow.
get
Research.
into that range?
Where did you use for research?
Google, what are the
Wow.
best things to do to increase your credit score? And
Mm.
then most of our banks, if you go into your online banking, there will be a section that says your credit journey,
Mm.
right? And if you go into your credit journey, it'll give you tips on how to increase your credit
Mm.
score. You could even put in like, this is my goal, right? And you put in your goal number. So at the time, I think I had put in 700. And then it gives you tips on what you need to do to get to 700.
Really? Okay. Okay.
So
Just
I just followed that.
right. Right.
So the number one thing to have good credit is to pay your bills on time. That's the number one factor that
Right.
impacts your credit score. Number one.
Are you
I
pulling
want
up
to,
some proof?
huh?
You pulling up some proof on your phone?
I want to give you the four factors because
Okay.
sometimes we think it's how much credit we actually have, but that's not it. That's not
Okay.
it. It's more important.
Well, while you doing that, Fatima West said, "Is keeping notes. Pay on time is the number one factor. Pay on time is the number one factor."
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
your payment history,
Hmm.
your credit history. So that means how long you've had, let's just deal with credit cards. How
Hmm.
long you've had a specific credit card
Hmm.
is important. So sometimes what people do, they say, "Oh, I'm going to pay off my credit cards and I'm going to close out my accounts." Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. So I'm looking at mine. My oldest credit card is 25 years and 6 months old.
Wow. So you
That's
paid
my
it.
old.
So tell
Hmm?
us what you told us what not to do. What should we do instead?
Keep it open and use it. use it, but pay it off within that month.
I pay a little, buy a little something and then pay it off.
Buy
Buy
a
a
little
little something
something,
and pay
because
it
I'll
off.
tell you what will happen. If you
Mm.
don't use a credit card over a certain period of time, the credit card company will close the account.
What?
And you will no longer have the benefit of that credit history.
What?
So
Okay.
I'm not saying like spend $2,000 on something unless you
Yeah.
could pay that off in a month.
Right.
What I'm saying, just do a little something to keep it activated, right?
Okay.
Your credit usage is also important, but not as important as your payment history, not as important as your credit history. So your
Mm.
credit usage, you want to make sure that your credit usage is under 30%.
Your credit use is under 30%. So how do you figure out the 30%?
So let's say you have a credit card and your
Expenditure?
of your limit is $5,000, right? So someone gives you a credit card,
Okay.
they say, "Here's $5,000,
Right.
have at it."
Hmm.
And you go and have at it, and you charge up $5,000.
Right.
So now your credit usage is 100%.
Right.
That is gonna impact your credit score.
Okay.
But if you take the $5,000 and let's say you spend 20% of that, $1,000, then that will have less of an impact on your credit score.
Okay.
So you're just times whatever that amount is, your credit limit is by 30%. And know that number. So my number is 20%. I do my best not to spend more than 20% of the credit that's available to me.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think so.
All right.
Yeah.
Your total balances. So you need to look at all of your credit, right? And know what those balances are. So if I have 3 credit cards, I need to know what my outstanding balance is all together, because that has a little impact on your credit score. Not as much as we would think.
Okay.
Okay. Credit checks have a little impact on your credit score. So let's say you go somewhere, you're going to open up a new credit card. That will hit your credit, your credit, and it'll be like it'll be noted on your credit report.
Is this number 2 or number 3?
Oh, this is number 1, 2, 3, 4. That's number 5.
Oh shoot. Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
number 1 is your payment history.
Number
Most
1 is
important thing. I'm telling you, it's the most important thing. I
okay.
think it determines like 40% of your credit score.
Okay.
Your payment history. You have a lot of late payments,
Mhm.
you are going to have a jacked up credit score, and it stays on for 7 years at least.
Mm.
So you
Wow.
want to make sure, even if you're just paying a minimum, you make sure you pay that minimum.
Okay.
2 is your credit history, right? So if you have a credit card and you've had it for a long time, don't close it out, even if you have a zero balance.
Even if
Keep
you had,
it.
like, that's a big one for me because I didn't think about that. Even though it's paid off, it's paid off. You want it to sit there and be the zero balance, but don't do that. Pay a little something and then pay it off. Little something and pay it off.
Yes. Yes.
That's a big one.
Yes.
Okay.
3, your credit usage. You want to keep it under 30%.
Okay.
4, know what your total balance is. So
Okay.
of all your credit, your mortgage, your credit cards, anything that's credit, know what that total amount is. Number 5, credit checks. Try to minimize how many credit checks you get. It has a small impact on your credit score. But if they see a lot, like if you go, I'm going to open up an account at Macy's, I'm going to open up an account at Banana Republic, I'm going to open up an account at Home Depot,
Mhm.
I'm going to go get a car, I'm going to,
Mhm. Right.
all like within a certain period of time, it's going
Right.
to impact your credit score. You don't want to do that.
Wow.
And then look at your available credit. How much credit do you have available to you? And just know what that is.
This is making me itchy. This is making me itchy. Like, yo, I did not think about those things. First of all, the fact that you were able to just go to Google and spend the time, because that's what it means. Because Google is everywhere now. Like, there's no encyclopedias anywhere. You
Mhm.
can go and find the information. So the fact that you took the time to spend the effort to research money in credit like this is huge. Is huge. Like, I don't know anybody I've talked to that's done that before.
Well, it's huge because it's my purpose.
Mm,
My purpose is to live life in joy connected to my yes. That's what's huge for me.
mm,
So that's I'm keeping my eyes on that. And
okay.
so when I wrote out what are the things that are in the way of me feeling joy, and credit card debt was high on my list.
Mm,
My relationship with myself as it relates to money. How do I relate to myself as it relates to money?
where okay. Okay. Yeah, that must have been hard though. Like knowing that that's your purpose and knowing that you want to change that relationship, was it still hard changing the relationship with money? Was it still like a little difficult?
It was very challenging
Mm,
because it was about changing a habit. So
mm,
the my habit, my my relationship with money was a habit, right?
mm.
So for example, if I saw something I really, really wanted and I didn't have the cash for it, I'll just charge it.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Right?
That's what we do. That's what
If
we
I
do.
want to go on a trip
Boom,
I don't have
boom,
the cash for it, I'll just charge
boom.
it.
Right.
And then I would tell myself, I'll pay it off
Yeah.
in a month,
Right.
but
Yeah.
then I wouldn't.
Then you wouldn't. Right.
And I
Of
would
course.
pay the minimum amount.
Yep.
And that's the other thing about credit cards. What I did was I had 4 credit cards
Mm.
and I picked one as my target, the one that had the highest interest rate, right?
The highest interest rate. The
The highest
highest
interest
interest
rate.
rate.
Yes.
Okay.
The
That
one
means we
that
got to
had
pay attention to our interest rates.
Yes,
Okay.
pay attention to your interest rate. The one with the highest interest rate. And that was my target, and I would pay more on that card. The other cards, I would do my best to pay like $20 more than the minimum.
$20 more than the minimum. I got to pause for these zingers you shooting out. $20 more than the what
The minimum.
the
So if
minimum payment.
if
Okay.
yeah, if the bill is $20 minimum
Yeah.
payment, I would pay 40. And you could look on your credit card bill and it will tell you how long it will take for you to pay this off if you
Right.
only pay the minimum. It will take like 20 years depending on what
Woo! It's making me hot. It's making me hot.
we
Right.
the credit card industry, because
Yeah.
there's been so much abuse by credit card companies, that there's all these laws that are in place for you to have information at your fingertips. So when you get your credit card bill, people just look at, okay, how much is due and by when.
Yeah.
No, read the whole thing.
The
There's so
whole
much
thing.
information there.
Wow.
So you want to
Okay.
know if and they'll give you a suggestion. If you pay $101, you will pay this off in 3 years. Now, that's only if you don't keep using it,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So the discipline was targeted on one card, pay more than a minimum on everything, and don't increase the credit card usage because it'll be counterproductive. So I had to tell myself, you have no credit cards.
Wow, you had to tell you. Okay, that's a big one too. You had to tell yourself you had no credit cards, even though you had credit cards.
Mhm.
Oh, oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, I have no credit cards. It's
Mm,
like I don't have credit cards.
okay.
So one by one, I was able to, and it was important to me, although I didn't have to do this, but it was important to me to get it down to zero. Like I really needed to see zero.
Mm,
I really needed to see that.
mm.
And it took me about 3.5 years to do that, to pay off all of my credit cards.
So you
Now
had to
I've
make.
done this before, Sekou.
Oh,
And
what?
yes, I paid off all my credit cards before. And then what would I do? I would get myself right back in debt again.
Okay, okay. I'm glad you said that because I too have paid off everything and then got myself in trouble again. And let me just say this. I paid it off because I asked an affluent friend, "Hey man, what am I supposed to do?" Right? Because one of those periods where I was rich, there's been a few periods where I've been rich, but one of the periods where I was rich, I was like, "What do I do now?" And he was like, "Pay off all your credit card debt." And I was like, "Well, that's it. All right." So I paid it off, but then there was no follow up steps, and then I just ended up spending the money again. Like, there was no concrete steps. So I'll get into that in a minute, but I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate you saying it. Yeah.
Yes.
So what happened? You got yourself in trouble again, and then what?
And then I probably paid off all my credit card debt at least 3 times.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then I got right back in debt again.
Okay.
Why?
Yeah.
Because there was no shift in my consciousness about it. My relationship with money had
Okay.
not healed, it had
Mm,
not transformed,
okay. That's a good point. That's a good point.
right? It was transactional. What I was doing when I was paying off my credit card debt before was transactional. I
Mm.
needed it to move from transactional to transformational.
Oh wow. Wow. From transactional to transformative. Ooh.
Yes. And it became transformative for me because it was wedded in my purpose and my passion to live life in joy. Prior
Mm.
to that, it was just like, okay, Susie Orman said, pay off your credit card and do la la la. Okay, let me do that. But it,
Yeah.
it wasn't it
Yeah.
wasn't rooted in anything.
It wasn't rooted in anything. Yeah. Yeah. See, that's what I think I was just reaching for. I was saying that he said to pay it off, but there was no follow up. There was no extra step. But what you're talking about is an extra step. Like that's like grounding it in how you feel about it.
Yeah.
Like is a transformative step.
Yeah.
Like that's a big step, and believing in it, so such that it resonates differently with you. That's a big deal. That's a
Yes.
big deal.
That's why that's step number 1.
Okay.
Know your purpose, write it down, and have your purpose statement. And everything you do in your life, everything is your purpose statement becomes the criteria by which you measure everything that you do, all the decisions that you make. Is it in alignment with my purpose?
Mm,
Having
mm.
credit card debt is not in alignment with my purpose.
It's not in alignment. It's
Not
not in
in
alignment.
alignment.
Woo.
And I have control over that, right?
Yeah.
I have, because what has happened now is I still use my credit cards, but I use it smart. So, because I know the benefits of using it and paying it off. I know
Benefits.
the benefits of it.
So what are the
So,
benefits?
so,
Like
so
what?
let me tell you. So,
Yeah.
one of the things you do when you get down to zero or close to it, you call the credit card company and you tell them you want to close out your account. Now, you don't want to close out your account, and
Okay.
they don't want you to close out your account.
Okay.
So then you can negotiate with them.
Right. Right.
I need this interest rate to be lowered if you
Right.
want me to stay.
Right.
I need this annual fee that you charge me just to have the credit card. I need that to be nothing. I'm not paying an annual fee.
Okay. Pause. Is the point at which it's a zero balance a good point to call them and say, "Hey, I need you to do something for me. Otherwise, I'm gonna cancel this credit card."
That's what I did.
When it was zero balance.
When I got to 0.
Okay.
Well, I'm trying to remember. I'm not sure if I did it for all of them when I got to 0. I might have gotten close and called, but nevertheless, each and every one of those companies wanted to keep me as a customer, right?
Yeah.
And I got something that I wanted.
Okay.
In each and every scenario, my interest rate was lower. I think there was only one company that wouldn't take away the annual fee.
Oh, the annual fee. Take away the annual fee?
Yeah, they wouldn't do it. It was like $59 or something like that, just to have the credit card.
But you asked for that. You asked for them to take away the
I
annual fee.
asked them to take it away.
Wow. That's deep.
Right? So now today, they have taken it away because my credit score is so good.
Wow.
I don't have any cards that I pay an annual fee for.
What? Wow. That's great. That's great.
And then the other thing that happens is they start to increase your credit. They they give you more credit.
They give you more dollars to spend because
Yes,
they're trying to
to
convince you.
tip you.
Tempt you into
Yes.
something. You're right.
I didn't ask for it. I would just get an email based on your, credit history and la 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 la.
Right.
We're going to increase your credit to,
Wow.
whatever. And I'm like, I didn't ask y'all to do that. But it's there, right?
Yeah.
And so I have to have the discipline not to be tempted to use it like that. So my biggest temptation happened recently. Last year, an opportunity came up to go to Egypt,
Hmm.
and I've always wanted to go to Egypt. And I was so tempted to use my credit card to pay for the trip. And I said, no. Then say, cool, you'll love this. I said, well, I could use my emergency fund.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you gotta learn. You gotta learn how to use your emergency fund. You have to save it, but then you have to learn how to deal with it.
And then I had to sit myself down and give myself a good talking to. Is this an emergency?
Is this emergency? Yeah.
No, it's not an emergency. And
Mm.
so then I had to define for myself what an emergency is.
Mm.
Right.
Mm.
That was not an emergency.
Mm.
So I didn't have to pay for the trip up, all of it at once. You could pay a little bit at a time. So I said, so I'm going to have I have a new envelope. It says Egypt, and I'm going to set money aside for that until I get the deposit that I need to send it in so I could go on the trip. And that's what I did.
Mm.
So I paid, and we're talking thousands of dollars this trip costs. I'm going to be there for like 15 days.
Wow.
And I like nice things. So it's all nice things,
Right.
right? So it's
Right.
a 5-star hotel.
Right.
It's, we're going on a private riverboat down the Nile.
Right.
It's very, very nice.
Right.
The only thing that I was not able to do for myself was to fly first class to Egypt.
Okay.
It's like, I think the last time I looked, it was like $6,000
Wow.
for first class
Wow.
to Egypt. So that was the only thing. But other than that, it's like I paid for it without using my credit cards.
Well, Mel, we got to have you back on. Like I just looked at the time. We blew the time. We blew the time like just like that because what you said was so important. That's what I want to make it clear, that what you said was so important about finding a way to make it not transactional, but transformative, right? Like changing the way you think about money and debt specifically,
Yes.
credit specifically is big. So I'm gonna have to have you come on
All
like
right.
once a week or something.
All
Like
right.
y'all
Let's
you got
go.
to come on because you gave me some energy about changing my. First of all, I'm about to look today. Be like, what do I got right now? What do I got right now? I'm gonna look today. And thank you for giving me that umph. And V King was feeling it too. I didn't even read her quotes. You know, she was saying all kinds of stuff. I didn't even read it. I was like so focused on you. But yeah. All right, we're already
We're over time.
overtime. So all right, thanks, Mel. Thanks for Mel.
Thank you.
And thanks.
Stay tuned for part 2, y'all. It's coming.
Yeah. Remember that now is better than perfect, y'all. And I'll see you later.
See you later.